love isn't about words, it's about patterns. It's about the quiet gestures that reveal what the heart dares not say. Anyone can say, "I love you," but only a man who truly feels it will show you through the smallest, most consistent acts. When a man's soul is invested, his behavior changes, not because he's forced to, but because he wants to. He prioritizes, protects, and proves his love without demanding recognition. So if you ever find yourself wondering whether his love is real, pay attention not to what he promises, but to what he does. Here are 10 things a man will only do if he truly loves you. When a man truly loves you, something inside him shifts. He stops pretending to be perfect and starts showing you the parts of himself he used to hide from the world. The moments of silence where he hesitates before speaking, those become the moments where truth begins to pour out. You'll notice he starts opening up about things that once made him feel weak, his insecurities, his past mistakes, the pain he's buried so deeply that even he rarely looks at it. Love has a strange power. It dissolves the walls built from fear, pride, and ego. And in their place, it plants honesty. When a man's emotions are real, he doesn't just talk about his dreams, he talks about his doubts. He doesn't just share his victories, he shares his losses. And that's when you begin to see who he really is beneath the surface. You see the man who struggles, who worries, who overthinks, but still tries. That's emotional transparency, not perfection, but presence, because love makes him want to be known. It pushes him to show you the full picture, not the polished version he shows the rest of the world. He stops fearing that vulnerability will make him look weak. Instead, he starts to believe that hiding will make him lose something real. You'll notice it in the way he tells you about his childhood, the things that shaped him, the heartbreaks that still echo in his memory. He's not seeking pity. He's seeking connection. He's saying, "This is me, and I trust you enough to see me like this." And once that happens, you'll feel the shift in your bond. Conversations go deeper. Silences become safer. His eyes tell stories his words can't. He stops masking his emotions behind jokes or distractions. Instead, he allows you to sit with his truth. That's the moment love becomes something raw, something unfiltered. Because real love isn't built on what we hide, it's built on what we dare to reveal. So when a man shows you his vulnerability, don't mistake it for weakness. It's his heart speaking the only way it knows how, through honesty, through openness, through the courage to be seen. And that's something he'll only do when his love for you is real. When a man truly loves you, he begins to value your peace more than his pride. He realizes that winning an argument isn't as important as protecting the connection between you. Love humbles him. It teaches him that silence, patience, and understanding can sometimes speak louder than words. Even when he's angry, when his ego screams to prove a point, something inside him stops him. That quiet voice reminding him that hurting you, even with words, is a wound that takes longer to heal than any disagreement. So instead of reacting, he starts reflecting. He listens more. He thinks before he speaks. He chooses care over control. You'll notice the difference in small moments. When tension rises, he doesn't storm out or shut down. He stays. Not to argue, but to understand. He looks at you not as an opponent, but as someone he's fighting for. Because love shifts the perspective. It's no longer about who's right, but what's right for both. He begins to see your peace as a reflection of his love. When you're calm, he feels grounded. When you're hurting, he feels it too. That's why he starts moving differently. Softer words, slower reactions, more awareness of how his energy affects you. He learns that control doesn't build love, but care does. So he stops trying to dominate the situation and instead starts learning how to nurture it. You'll see him step back when emotions get too heated, not to escape, but to avoid saying something he can't take back. He might reach out after silence, not because he's weak, but because he knows connection matters more than pride. That's emotional maturity disguised as love. There's a calmness he tries to protect, the peace between you, the safety that makes you feel understood. And it's not that he stops feeling anger or frustration, it's that he learns to carry them with grace. Because love softens a man, not into submission, but into awareness. He becomes careful with his tone, his words, his actions, because he knows the wrong ones can leave invisible scars. So when he starts choosing patience over ego, empathy over dominance, that's not weakness, that's devotion. It means your happiness has become his priority and your peace has become the mirror of his love. When a man truly loves you, effort becomes his natural language. It's not forced, it's not done to impress. It simply flows from the depth of his feelings. He begins to notice the little things that matter to you. The way you take your coffee, the songs that calm you down, the dreams you mention casually but hold close to your heart. He remembers them not because he has to, but because he wants to. Love awakens his sense of responsibility, not in a burdened way, but in a way that says, your happiness matters to me. His effort is his proof, not his words. You'll see it in the consistency of his actions. He doesn't disappear when life gets busy. He doesn't give excuses for neglecting the bond he's building. Instead, he finds ways to show up, a text, a call, a gesture that says, I'm thinking of you. That effort, those small acts of showing up, become the quiet foundation of trust. Because a man in love doesn't just appear when it's convenient, he shows up when it's needed. He starts planning with intention, carving time out of chaos, adjusting his priorities, and keeping his promises. Love shifts his sense of time. Suddenly, making you feel valued is no longer a task, it's a choice he makes every day. He knows that love without effort fades, and effort without meaning feels empty. So he balances both. You won't have to beg for his attention because he'll give it freely. You won't have to question his intentions because his actions will answer for him. Even on the hard days when things aren't perfect, he'll keep trying. He'll look for ways to bridge distance, to mend misunderstandings, to make sure you feel seen. He understands that real effort isn't about grand gestures, it's about the consistency of care. It's the way he remembers to check if you've eaten, the way he supports your ambitions, the way he makes sure you never feel alone in your struggles. And when a man does that, it's not obligation. It's devotion. Because love taught him that effort is how feelings stay alive. He knows affection means little without action. So he proves his love not by saying he'll do better, but by quietly doing it every single day without being asked. When a man truly loves you, he doesn't try to mold you into someone else. He doesn't compete with your strength or silence your individuality. Instead, he admires it, the way you think, the way you move through life, the way you chase what sets your soul on fire. He understands that love isn't about possession, it's about appreciation. He doesn't want to rewrite your story. He wants to be a part of it. That's the beauty of a man who respects your individuality. He loves you for who you are, not for who he can make you become. You'll notice it in the way he listens to you, really listens. When you talk about your goals, your passions, your fears, he doesn't interrupt or dismiss them. He encourages them. He wants to see you grow, even if it means you might outgrow the version of yourself that first met him. That's real love. The kind that doesn't feel threatened by your evolution. He doesn't shrink you to feel taller. He stands beside you, matching your energy, respecting your pace, and giving you space to breathe. He never uses love as a leash. He doesn't demand that you change your habits, your friends, or your dreams just to fit his comfort. Instead, he understands that your differences are what make the bond beautiful. He sees your strength, your independence, and instead of feeling insecure, he feels proud because he knows that a strong woman by his side isn't competition, it's partnership. He learns to love your complexity, to accept that you are not always easy to understand, but always worth the effort. In arguments, he doesn't throw your individuality back at you as a weapon. He doesn't say, you're too much, or you should be more like this. Instead, he takes a step back, tries to see things through your eyes, and respects that you have your own ways of handling the world. That's not control. That's understanding. And that's what separates a man who simply likes you from a man who truly loves you. Because real love doesn't demand change to feel secure. It creates space where both can grow freely, fearlessly, and fully themselves. When he respects your individuality, he's not just loving you, he's honoring your essence, the very thing that drew him to you in the first place. When a man truly loves you, he doesn't disappear when life becomes heavy. He doesn't retreat when you're no longer smiling or when the light in your eyes dims for a while. Instead, that's when he steps closer. He doesn't need you to be perfect, composed, or cheerful to stay. He stays because he understands that love isn't just about enjoying the good moments. It's about standing steady in the storms too. When you break down, he doesn't rush to fix you. He holds the space for you to heal. His love becomes a quiet shelter, not filled with loud promises, but with gentle presence. He knows that real love is tested not when things are easy, but when things fall apart. When you're lost in your own thoughts, when you start doubting yourself, he becomes your anchor. He reminds you of your strength, not by preaching, but by believing in you when you can't believe in yourself. His patience grows deeper during your weakest moments. He doesn't guilt you for being human, for feeling too much, or for not being okay. Instead, he reminds you that even your vulnerability is beautiful, that you don't have to be strong all the time to be loved. He doesn't fear your tears or your silence. He doesn't walk away from your emotional storms because he knows they're part of who you are. When you pull away, he gives you space but never leaves the connection hanging. When you fall apart, he picks up the pieces gently, not to change you, but to remind you that you're safe with him. That's what love does. It holds, it steadies, it waits. There's a quiet loyalty in the way he stays. He becomes more than just a partner, he becomes a safe place. Not because he has all the answers, but because he refuses to abandon you in your confusion. His steadiness tells you something deeper than words ever could. I'm here. Not just for the version of you that laughs and shines, but for the one that trembles and doubts. When a man truly loves you, his vision begins to include you, not just in his present, but in his future, quietly, naturally, without needing to announce it. You start to notice it in the way he talks about his plans. He says, "we," instead of "I," without even realizing it. His choices begin to align with something beyond himself. He starts thinking long term, not because he's trying to trap you in promises, but because his heart has already chosen you as part of his journey. His love stops being about temporary excitement. It becomes about building something stable, something lasting. He begins to move differently. When opportunities arise, he doesn't only think about what benefits him, he considers how it might affect both of you. He starts setting goals that create a future where you fit effortlessly. And it's not just about material things or grand plans, it's in the details. The way he saves time for you, the way he makes space in his daily routine, the way he introduces you to people who matter to him. Every action whispers the same truth. I see you in my tomorrow. Even his fears change. He doesn't just worry about losing you. He worries about failing to protect what you're building together. He starts thinking about emotional security, not just attraction. He wants to grow, to evolve, to become better, not only for himself, but for the bond you share. His growth starts reflecting his commitment. He might not say it out loud, but his consistency, his patience, and his effort tell you everything. And when he talks about the future, he doesn't pressure you into it. He lets it unfold naturally because he knows that real love isn't forced, it's nurtured. His vision isn't about ownership, it's about partnership. He doesn't want to define your path, he wants to walk beside you. He understands that the best kind of future is one where both can continue to grow, dream, and build, together but still whole. That's how you know his love is real, when his plans start to reflect your presence without demanding it. When his life starts to shape around the idea of us instead of me. Because a man who truly loves you doesn't just imagine a future with you. he quietly starts creating it one intentional choice at a time.